So about a month or so ago, I was co-hosting the Ramsey show, as I do usually once a week with Dave Ramsey or one of the other Ramsey personalities. And I made a statement from something that I had been reading from several well-known economists who were saying companies are more and more, it's not necessarily a new thing, but it is increasing in its rate, where they're saying for people who want a remote full-time job and it's a white-collar skilled position, they're not going to try to keep you or sway you to come into the office. They're going to replace you, and they're going to send your job overseas. And I used India as an example. It was quick off the cuff. So we got all these great support team here at Ramsey, and we got a social media team, and they go clip stuff that I say all the time. I don't even remember saying it half the time, right? And so they put this clip out on social media, and the thing went bananas. 3+ million views. I think 3.7 million views on Instagram, another 3 million views on TikTok. And it was just simple. And people are just like, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, good luck, or whatever. And then a lot of people agree with me, right? Well, I told you so. Wall Street Journal article. Now, before I get into the article that actually cites this happening, gosh, I'm going to really crow on this one. It's going to become obnoxious, I'm afraid. But let's just set the scene of where we are as it relates to remote work. Okay? Fully remote work peaked in the U.S. in 2020, the year of the pandemic, is the way I see it. 60%. 60% of U.S. workers in 2020 were fully remote. Okay? As of March this year, 2023, only about 13% of U.S. job postings were remote. Now, let's back that up pre-pandemic to 2019. 17% of job postings offered remote work. So what we're seeing is a reset, okay? Because, you depending on what media you listen to and everybody talking about it, and by the way, the angry remote workers are the loudest people on social media when I say anything about remote. In fact, they could post a clip of me on social media just saying this, remote, and I would get attacked. Why do you hate remote work, Ken? Well, I don't. That would be nonsensical. There's no question that you can be effective remote. I don't hate remote work. I just know it's limited. And I also know companies are saying you better get back in. So anyway, so that clip goes viral. Now here we go. Wall Street Journal. This is fascinating. The idea came to Johnny Taylor Jr. early last year after one of his employees made a case that her technology position could be done anywhere. She wanted to leave Virginia, where she held a job at the Society for Human Resource Management. Now, folks, this is a professional association that is, they are the experts, or they are the biggest organization out there on best practices for HR. And this is the CEO. This is so deliciously ironic. So this lady says this to him. This is his direct quote to the Wall Street Journal. He said, and a light bulb went off. He said, instead of having her work in another state, I could outsource her job to India. Anybody paying attention? Where the organization could save 40% in labor cost. This is Mr. Society of Human Resource Management. This isn't some hard right-wing redneck who runs a, you know what I mean? Come on, let's just be real. This guy's like, hey, I can replace her. That's a good business. Well, so now companies are doing this more and more. In August of last year, 7.3% of U.S. managers surveyed by the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta said they were planning and actually moving more jobs abroad as a result of remote work. About 10 to 20% of U.S. service support jobs like software developing, human resource professionals, payroll administrators could see their jobs moved overseas within the next decade. This is according to Nicholas Bloom, an economist at Stanford. Now, offshoring jobs is not a new phenomenon. And that's what a lot of people, they're like, oh, hey, Ken, this isn't new. I know, genius. I was telling you that it's increasing, and it is. What is changing is we're seeing more and more skilled jobs moved overseas. And does anybody think that artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, isn't going to make it even easier for companies to ship your white-collar, highly skilled job? Anybody? Okay, great. Because we've seen a lot of big tech companies lead the way in layoffs over the last 6 months. Salesforce, Google, Facebook, right? Laying people off by the tens of thousands. Technology companies. Now, I also want to, for you critics out there, I want to acknowledge there is no question that moving a job from an American worker to an overseas worker has its challenges. Certainly language barriers, the first one that comes to mind. You've got dispersed teams, so different communications as it relates to time and all of that. It's not uniform. It has challenges. But when we are in an economy where we are now, where we have a labor shortage, more jobs available right now by the millions than we have people who are unemployed. So companies are fighting. They're offering all kinds of bonuses. That's why we've seen the Great Resignation. That's why salaries are up. People moving jobs. That's why inflation, by the way, is staying around. If Burger King's got to pay a kid $17 an hour instead of $12 an hour, your Whopper combo is going to cost more. I just want to explain that to you. Man, groceries are so expensive now, Ken. I know, because the kid's stocking, it's making $3 or $4 more an hour. So welcome to the whole crew that goes, everybody deserves a living wage. Well, yes, but there's got to be supply, demand, and there's got to be capitalistic philosophies involved here so that the system doesn't get too heavy for itself. I'm all for anybody being able to earn a living, which, by the way, they can. In India, Western companies are hiring more accountants and risk analysts, and they are seeing legal, finance, and technology jobs all come to India. So, what does this mean? Why do I talk about this type of a issue? Because some of you are worried about your job getting shipped overseas. And I understand. So, Ken, what do I do? So, artificial intelligence threatening my job, remote work or hybrid work, and companies going, I could ship. Let me just tell you something. Listen, you can't worry about it. Let me tell you what still works. Okay? Remote work is expanding. Artificial intelligence is expanding. But let me tell you what's never going to be a failing strategy. It will always win for you. Be good on the field and be good in the locker room. Be valuable in your work, in the office. Get over it. If you got to go back to work, you'll be fine. Well, I don't like the remote, and I really enjoy working in my sweatpants. Great, but if that's not an option, and it's increasingly not, guess what? You know what's going to help you win so that you have control of your money and everything else in your life? Being valuable on the field. That's in the office. And being valuable in the locker room. That means you're a good culture person. You're a good teammate. You're a good follower. You want to know how you are as layoff proof as anybody can be? Win in the office. Win in the locker room. Deliver the goods, baby. When it's your turn to get the ball, do something with it. It supports your teammates, supports your leader. You'll rise above. You're unstoppable.